felt, you know, offensively we shot the ball well, but there were stretches we were a little disjointed, made some you know, poor decisions, and that led to some unforced turnovers. I liked, in stretches, our defense at the end, our zone helped us some once they closed it, I think, to 8 or 10. And the numbers, you know, 36% or 37% of the field's not bad. But just, you know, sometimes there's games where you're glad to get the win and move on. And you know, this was one of those games because coming off the Syracuse victory, you know, in the Dome, you're curious, you know, how the team is going to respond in the next contest. And you know, there were clearly some things we need to address and improve upon, but the fact we didn't play well and you know, won by what was the final? You know, so we won by 18. We didn't play well, you know. So we need to improve upon a lot of you know, really all facets of play. But there were some good things within it. I thought Phil Green and you know, played with good confidence, played with confidence offensively, and D'Angelo just the 8 for 8 from the foul line, and more importantly, shooting over 50% for the second consecutive game, getting his feet under him. You know, so it's 2 straight games now where he shot 50 or above, and I think that's important for us to be successful. Is he needs to shoot a high percentage from the field as well as a 3-point line. And then Chris O'Beck with a double-double. I'd say those are probably the 3 things that jump out. Our backcourt play, Green and Harrison and O'Beck underneath, and then those numbers, offensive field goal percentage and our defensive field goal was solid.
You don't think you guys played well? What box score are you looking at?
Well, you know, maybe it's the perfectionist in me because, you know, naturally as a coach you're never satisfied, and I just, you know, you're wired as a coach to see the chinks in the armor, to see the flaws or the stretches of play that will cost us when we step up, you know, to conference play, and if we're going to make a, you know, a postseason appearance and make a run in the postseason, you know, you have to keep elevating every aspect of play, offensively and defensively, and so there were stretches where I felt we played well, but then there were other stretches where I felt, you know, we were disjointed and made some really poor decisions and lost focus in our transition defense. And, so lots of areas to improve upon, but at the same time, when you don't play well and you win by 18, that, you know, that's encouraging.
Steve, you said you were curious to see how they come in. Huge win, a lot of emotion. Mm-hmm. Even if you weren't thrilled with all aspects of the play, I mean, I imagine you were satisfied with, I guess, their level of effort, the fact there really wasn't that kind of letdown that you might you could see coming possibly.
Yeah, I felt once we got the lead, we had a little bit of complacency. You know, we had a big dunk, and we were celebrating. They went down the other end and got a layup. You know, so now we've got nothing out of that sequence. And I think that's when I called a timeout shortly thereafter. But we scored again, and I called the timeout just to address that, clean that up. You know, so sustaining focus, sustaining a level of execution, sustaining our intensity, sustaining our purpose. You know, those are the areas that we have to continue to improve upon, and like flexing a muscle. We watch the film work, we do the drill work at practice, and you come out and play another game. And there were stretches that we did play well, but other stretches that we were not pleased with at all, and that was the message that was delivered post-game. If we're going to be special, if we're going to do something of significance this year, you know, today's performance isn't going to get it done.
Did something happen with Jamal? An ankle or?
We find out. I don't know. Stitches.
Okay.
Some kind of collision. I think they're stitching him up.
Okay.
Talk about the play of Phil Green the last 2 games for you, and how you feel he's going to contribute for you and the team for the rest of the year.
He is, as I told the kids, tickling the twine, torching the nets, you know, shredding the nets from all angles, and just, you know, he's seeing a big basket right now. You know, he probably feels like he could drop kick it in when you get in that zone to where you feel, you know, good about every shot that you release. And he's in one of those places, just making very good judgments, clarity of his choices in terms of when to pass the ball, when to drive it to the basket, when to pull up and stop and pop, when to bring it out and distribute the ball, get us into offense, showing the judgment in the break and also on the half court, just a steady and influence, an outstanding leader, very quiet, understated, but valued because of everything he brings to this team.
Rashid came off the bench again today. He had 8 points, pretty good spark plug. You guys have been playing your best ball with that starting lineup. So at this point in the season, is that a role you expect him to stay in?
I don't, it's really right now we have 6 starters, and then we're trying to figure what we're going to do in terms of developing the 7th, 8th, and 9th man. But I really see those first 6 as starters, and their minutes kind of reflect that. And I've had other teams like that in the past, where we've got 6, we'd like to build it to 8, and so there's competition in practice. We lean towards Miles Stewart if we need a shooter, and if we need a bigger body, it's between Christian and Amar based on what type of practices they've had. But there's kind of a separation between the first 6 and the rest of the team, and so based on matchups, based on the flow of the game, based on style of play in terms of our opponents. I can tinker with those first 6, but then after that, the goal is to try and build some depth. Joey De La Rosa will help, when he's going to join us shortly here. So that'll help us some in terms of front line, But yeah, I don't think they even see. They just kind of see themselves as 6, probably a group of 6, and then trying to build out 7, 8, 9. I don't think they really are as they're old enough to kind of realize the starting element is less important than who finishes, and are you getting the minutes that are significant like a starter, and are you productive with those minutes, and do we get the W? And that's the beautiful thing about having an older team versus a younger team, where the focus is more on self, or you have the just the nature to be not thinking as much about St. John's in the front of the jersey or the victory, and more about self. So thankfully, this is a group that's mature and understands now. Let's get the W.
Steve, do you think that I know that you said that you were very proud of them when they got the ranking.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that getting the ranking has made them feel better about themselves in any way?
I'm sure anytime you're ranked. I mean, I think if you're ranked, it's natural for a coach, a player, fans, donors, faculty on this campus, the student body, to have a little pep in the step. There's a little uptick in pride for the extended St. John's community and ourselves included in that. So, but I also am pleased that there isn't any complacency or sense that we've accomplished anything significant yet as a group. But I like the fact for 4 years we've been trending in the right direction, and we've just continued to climb the mountain, as we like to say. And but clearly we have work to do. But I think when you're ranked in the top 25, it gives you a little pep in the step. It helps with recruiting. It helps if, your donors get to read about you in the newspapers, and fans are naturally pleased to see us back in the top 25. That's the goal, is to be a nationally competitive program on an annual basis, and live up to the storied tradition that is St. John's basketball.
Was there any extra sense of, joy or relief with the team once the rankings came out and they saw that there's finally a number next to the school?
Yeah.
Or is it just kind of a put our heads down and keep working kind of
Yeah,
thing?
it's
really?
more what I like about this. I think a couple of years ago that that would have been more likely to happen when they were freshmen or sophomores. But I think this group has been through so much, both on the court but off the court. I've never experienced anything like it in my coaching career, and no one on our staff has either. Just the odds of the number of things that have lined up in terms of adversity and loss. very unusual in such a compressed amount of time. And so I think that has shaped a more mature outlook, because when you have the degree of hardship they have off the floor in life, it is bound to influence the way you look at the game and you look at the world, you know. So it's a mature group, you know. I think a lot of that has to do with the things they've been through the last 3 years. You couldn't, it's unprecedented in my experience.